offense. Commanders unraveled at the seams.
31-0 is, that's not even a tough day at the office. That's just bad.
Getting shut out and shut down 31-0 by the Minnesota Vikings.
You try to find, something good that you want to point to. It's hard that tonight, honestly, I don't.
Nothing clicked. Execution, rhythm never developed. Efficiency was nowhere to be found. And according to Coach Quinn, the team took 3 steps back.
I told the team I thought we took a step forward last week, and tonight I thought we took 3 steps back.
Defensively, Washington was pushed around all afternoon. Minnesota's ground game looked like a runaway train, chewing up yards and controlling the field from start to finish. Now the Commanders face the final stretch. 4 games left, all divisional matchups, starting with a trip to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants. There's plenty to break down this week on Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus, from what went wrong to what's left to fight for and what needs to change fast.
The man
call somebody,
is back, y'all.
We're back. Call
He's
your
back.
mama, call your daddy.
We're back and we're back.
We're back.
Tony McGee,
back, y'all.
We're back.
Tony
McGee.
Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Crystal City Sports Pub, located in the heart of National Landing, is ranked one of the top 20 sports bars in the country. We are open 365 days a year. Crystal City Sports Pub, with its laid-back atmosphere, is the place to be. We offer 3 levels, over 100 TVs, an 18-foot video wall, pool tables, 3 full bars featuring 11 beers on tap, an extensive menu, and super friendly staff. We offer on- and off-site catering and ample space to host private parties and gatherings. Come experience Crystal City Sports Pub. It is the place to be.
Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. We are going to do it a little different today. I'm going to introduce the individuals which is going to be with us because we have an exciting show going for you today. And when the team lose like they lose, you have to bring in a toughie. Donna was there, and they didn't even want her to interview him in the locker room, Donna. They act like they mad and everything. And then Mike was at home writing up bad stuff about him and everything. G was out there working in his uniform trying to come back. And was Solomon there? I mean, he's the biggest fan of all. Solomon McGee, where were you?
Hold on, Pops. Let me fix my camera real quick.
Oh!
I was sitting here on the couch in embarrassment. Come on, fellas. 2019, the last time we've been shut out. It ain't about anything else but embarrassment today. Come on, fellas. 31-0. Oh, come on, Pop.
I tell you, we do all have our opinion that you went back to New Orleans on it. When we come back, the first person we're going to bring in is Jason Campbell, because a lot of people are saying, should our quarterback have played? Should he not have played? Now, we've brought the on the couch back. You can hear my bird in the back. He's trying to give me information, and I hear Donna on the side trying to give me information. But I am confused. How do you take your number one quarterback who's played well for you, know that he has propensity to have injuries, put him in a game that's meaningless, get him out there and he's hurt again? Why do you do things like that? So we can't say that. Donna, who has no knowledge of football, but she's hanging on here. We go get Jason Campbell to come back, my man. The only man in the world called me Shaft's daddy. Jay, welcome back to the show. Wait a minute.
Tony, wait.
Donna told me to zimmer. Hey, fans, do y'all see that? Look, ain't no head there. Okay, I better live it up. Hey,
Hey, Tony, wait a minute. You said that game was meaningless. It was not meaningless because the Commanders had a very slim chance. If they won that game, they were still in the playoff chase. They had to win out, but still, it wasn't meaningless.
Well, you know what comes after slim? None. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what. You talk about everybody had to lose. That would be impossible. The
That's not impossible.
The Commanders had to lose to even get in. But no, we laughing at playing, but it's not funny. And one thing, this can be good for Jay. And I want you, and I don't want to put you in a precarious situation, but I do want to ask you, would you have gone back out and played in a situation such as this? I know if it had been something where we were trying to get in the playoffs or something like that, but in a meaningless game, you can take another week, and then you go out there and you re-injure yourself. The team is in trouble. I just don't think that was a good decision. And I know that it was a decision probably made because pressure was being put out there. But give me your thoughts as the starting quarterback. What would you have done, and what do you feel with this situation?
Yeah, it's hard not to go out and play, right? As a competitor, you want to be out there with your teammates and sit on the sideline is very difficult, especially a guy like Jaden Daniels who had so much success in his first year, and starting off this year, it didn't go the way he wanted. Had to fight some injuries early this season, and then you try to come back out there and say, hey, I'm not 100%, but who is at this point of the year? Even at 50 to 70%, you feel like, hey, I want to be out there with my guys, and I think he tried to give it a go. And as long as he didn't get hit on that arm or fall on that arm, I think he felt like he could be fine. But when the games is going 90 miles per hour and everyone's, it's coming for you, and you take one hard hit on that, and you just come from a dislocation of an elbow, sometimes that thing can get worse really quick. Sometimes you have to make sure those injuries are fully healed before stepping back on the field. But I get it, though. I get why you want to be out there. I would want to be out there as well. Even if it's a slim chance to none to make the playoffs, I still want to finish the season with my guys and head into the off season, building on something. And rather than just stand there and just saying, hey, this was an injury-prone season on the whole team. They've had a lot of injuries this year. Zach Ertz, again, with another one yesterday. But to me, the biggest concern to me, Tony and Donna, is the offense somehow this year looked better when they play with Mariota than it has with Jaden Daniels. So I'm not sure, what adjustments did they make? Are they afraid to play him as the way they did last year, or people just figuring out some of their keys and things that they like to do with him and haven't made the adjustments just yet to put him in a situation? Because even before he was injured, he was 9 for 20 for 78 yards yesterday. And I know Debo had that one to go off his hands on 4th down in the red zone, but they still haven't looked efficient and not even close to what they did a year ago.
That's interesting.
It's funny. Hey, Tony, let me stay there with Jason for a minute. It's funny that you say that because I was talking about that on Sunday, that it seems like Kingsbury, when Mariota is in there, he dials up a different kind of game. And when Jayden is in there, he's almost dials up a different game for Jayden, more so to almost like make Jayden run the ball versus keeping it even keel when Mariota is in there. Because to me, no matter if it's Jayden or if it's Mariota, the offense should still run the same way as far as if you're going to run the ball, if you're going to pass the ball. And let's go down to that first drive for the Commanders. They get down on the 1-yard line, and it seems like Kingsbury is pass happy because what got them down the field was the running game behind Chris Rodriguez. And you get on the 1-yard line, and instead of trying to punch it in, running the ball, they throw 3 straight plays. So I'm not understanding about Kingsbury as far as some of his play calling. When you just said when Jayden is in, seems like it's a different dial up versus Mariota. And I'm curious to see or hear from both you and Tony. What are you seeing right there from Kingsbury as far as his pass? I know that this Commanders, all of their horses was back on offense. The offensive line got everybody back. They've been back for about 4 weeks. And now you have Terry McLaurin back, Noah Brown, you got Debo Samuel and Traylon Burke, who you didn't even play in that game against the Vikings. So I'm not understanding what is going on with the offense play calling overall.
I think he's trying to make it, and Jason to know this and tell you even better, but he's making it where Jaden doesn't have to think as much. He's putting him in a situation where either you throw it to the open man or you run. They did the same thing with Mariota when he first came in. They may call it a different game, but throughout his whole career, Mariota has made mistakes in big places. That just seems to happen. Yeah, they do call it a little different, but the run thing you got to call different is it's the same offensive line for both of them, and they're not getting the job done. You don't have a running game. It's the same defensive line for both of them, and they get knocked off the ball. For you fans and for everyone, the next game, just take a look, if no one has changed it, and watch how much our linemen, both offense and defense, is on their side of the ball. When I say their side of the ball, they're being pushed back, and you can't win like that. And we can talk about quarterback changes and calls and everything, but Jay, you know what I'm talking about. When you're a quarterback and you look up, you're supposed to have at least 3 seconds. And you're a quarterback, you got about 1.5 seconds. Come on now. You running the ball and you need 4th and 1, and you can't trust your running game? That's not a playoff situation. So what's telling me is they're doing what the personnel they have. And when they're doing that, Jay, tell me if I'm wrong, they're doing that because they feel like Mariota has a little bit more experience.
Yeah, most definitely think Mariota has a little bit more experience. They also think Mariota can probably take a little bit more punishment at this stage, right? Jaden had a lot of injuries this season, and I think they try to call a safe game for him rather than calling the game that they did last year where they kind of let him play. And we talked about that a season ago about, are we concerned with the punishment that he was taking with a lot of those quarterback runs? And we all said that it doesn't catch up with you now. But as he continued to play in these long seasons, these 17-game seasons, and then talking about playoffs, those hits start to add up and they start to affect you in a big way. And I think Jaden, the reason he probably rushed himself back is the other reason is he don't want to be labeled as, can he sustain the NFL with his size? And I think a lot of that is he's trying to show toughness. He's trying to show mental toughness. He's trying to show physical toughness to his teammates and to the fans that are watching because he has missed a big portion of this season. I do think Kingsbury, when he gets in the game, I do think they try to call a safe game with Jaden, where it's like they're either trying to throw quick hitters or, something really quick, but with Mariota, it seems like they do call longer developing plays sometimes. And I don't know if that's because even with the pass rush, like you were saying, Tony, you have to understand, like, when the ball got to come out, when there has to be protection for 2 to 3 seconds. And we've seen, how it affect the Chiefs this year. If you don't have good play up front to build a wall in front of, Mahomes, who's one of the greatest quarterbacks to play in the game, you can look just like a regular average quarterback. And I think when you look into this, yes, they're getting knocked off the ball in ways, but also they're not calling those longer developing plays with Jaden where he's sitting back there going through his progressions to have to get to the number 3 receiver. And I see them do that more with Mariota, where they're throwing deeper routes and they're throwing plays that take a little bit longer to develop. When I watched them play against the Denver Broncos on that Sunday night game, it's a totally different call game than what I was seeing yesterday.
Hey, Jaden, so let me stay there too, because you talked about as far as you're trying to protect Jaden more so because of the last year, what they were trying to do, but you can't spoon feed him. You got to let him play is my philosophy. And if you're trying to protect him, then maybe not have him drop back so far. Why isn't he under the center a little bit more? Because I don't see him ever under the center. And maybe that's Kingsbury's play calling, is not to have the quarterback under the center, because I've been talking about that all year. Put him under the center and let him develop there. Coach Quinn talked about the reason why he played him also, and even maybe moving forward at the rest of the season, is his development is crucial. So again, it goes back, Tony, I know what you said as far as the offensive line and everything. But the offensive line against the Broncos played well. I mean, but to me, you get away from the running game. The strength of this team is your running game too, and developing that is key because that's got you up and down the field. And to put in the fact that you had all your horses on Sunday against the Vikings. But to me, I mean, they stifling Jason a little. Jayden a little bit this season because you're not helping him develop because you're calling a safe game. A safe game is not going to move you up and down the field because you're handcuffing him to a certain degree. Am I right or wrong? Because to me, you gotta let him play.
I say this: there's a reason Kyler Murray is sitting on the sidelines, right? Because the type of offense they like to run, they try to run a college style offense where they involve the quarterback so much of the run game, right? So when you think about that, last year, Jayden was so much of their run game. If you look at their yards per rush and you look at how many yards they tallied up, he might have been in the top 3 leading rusher on the team.
Exactly.
And when your quarterback is one of those 3 leading rushers on the team, sometimes people say, oh man, that's great quarterback. It comes with a price. And the price is that mean if you're going to involve him that much in the run game, then you're going to accept him to be punished. You're putting him in a position to be hit a lot more. So if they want to preserve him, then they need to develop more of the passing game in a drop back situation and then allow him to scramble when there's times for him to scramble to utilize his legs and go get yards and put pressure on the defense. But to have him design, and that's the reason he's in the shotgun a lot more, Dunham. He's in the shotgun a lot more because they want him to read the backside end. They want him to read the backside linebacker to decide if he's going to keep it or pull it. Where if you do go under center, yes, it can causes the defense to be on their heels a little bit because now you get the downhill running game, but you also get the bootlegs, the nakeds, where you get him outside with those deeper routes, running the deep over routes and some of those comebacks and everything where he's outside the pocket. Now he can decide to run or throw it, but he's not in harm's way. Like he can get out of bounds. He can throw the ball away. But when you have those designs runs within the hash marks, it is tough because once you pull it, you are a runner. You're a running back. And guys are trying to knock your head off. And that's the adjustment that teams made from last year to playing Jayden Daniels this year. They say, okay, if they want to involve him that much in the run game, then they're going to have to pay for it. And that's what teams are banking on. That's what they did this year because they're making them say you have to adjust your passing offense in order for him to have success because designing him in the run game, you can't do it. Yesterday was 23 rushes for 107 yards, I think they had.
Yeah,
I don't think they had 100 yards passing against Minnesota's defense. And then you look at defensively, Bobby Wagner had 16 total tackles and I think 6 solo tackles, if I'm not mistaken. So you talk about him being your leading tackler on defense. He may be your oldest defender. That's a problem. So where are your younger guys at and how are you developing them? Are you putting them in situations to have success? Are you leaning too heavily on the older guys who's almost one step to going into retirement? So you have to understand, like, where are you going towards? Are you moving forward? Or are you going to find yourself in a position? I think last year they had such an outstanding season. It kind of shocked them a little bit to the point this summer that they felt like they could add just a few pieces. But some of those pieces was older pieces. Deebo Samuel's a really, really great receiver. But you look at Von Miller, both of those guys have played really well in their careers and going to have, borderline Hall of Fame careers. But when you think about it as a whole, though, are they peaking or are they declining at this part of their career? And if you're watching the football team trying to build your team up, then you got to have some youth ready to learn from those guys, but they got to be in the game to get experience.
That's a hard thing for people to realize, and I think you could not have said it any better, Jay. For the simple reason, that's what you see throughout the league, as I said. But at the same time, let's digress and go back to the way they have him, our quarterback, Jay, not getting up to the line of scrimmage. I think the reason they have him in shotgun so much is to give him a little time to think as well, give him a little time for an option. They always want him to have the option to run. But as we listen to what you just said, that is not good to leave that up to him. You have to control that when he's going to run, when he's going to do different things. I just think that if you have a running game without your quarterback being the main source, then you have something going. But when your quarterback, I was on a team In Chicago, Bobby Douglas, first quarterback to ever run for 1,000 yards. He threw for about 10. So you know what? It didn't help us any. So what we got to look at this whole situation is, and we have to be cheerful, just like you said about Vaughn and different people. I know you can say, you can go to bed one night as a football player looking like a superstar, and then you get up the next day and don't even know who you saw on film. So you know you can get old quick. You're right. Bring in new players. But first, solidify your lines.
Yes.
Look around the league. Everyone that's doing well, they talk about their offense and defensive line. Solidify their lines, and the rest will come.
Hey, Tony, so I know we got to wrap up and everything, but that was a debacle of a game against the Vikings. You play 1 week against Denver, top defensive team, and you played great on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. And then you go up to Minnesota and you get shut out 31-0. What happened to that offense? What happened to that defense? It tells a tale of this team. As Jason and you have said, Tony, this organization have to start building, looking at this team seriously, getting younger in areas that you know you need to get young in, because if you don't, you're going to be left in the dust. Well, Tony, I'm going to let you have the last word because we got to bring Jason back, but we wanted to pick his brain about this offense, the quarterback situation, and he gave us some great tidbits to chew on, especially you, Tony.
Well, you know, the one thing about it we do know, and when you take a look at these games, you look at the situations, we know where they are right now, and we can keep complaining about that, but at the same time, this organization have to do that. When you go out and you walk your dog in the morning, if you have control of them, you don't need a leash. They could have walked this team with a shoestring the other day. They controlled them the whole, can't have that. So when we look at this team, we're not complaining. We're telling you what it takes to get where you want to go. And with that being said, Jay, come on back. Shaft will be waiting. And you know, you heard my birds in the backside. We keeping it real. Telephone. You are in the studio with us, fans. And so we'll never say goodbye to you. We say in a minute.
In a minute.
In a minute.
Now, you heard what Jason had to say, and you know, he's a guy, and he's going to be a young guy that wants to play no matter what. But we all know that our quarterback should not have played. But you know, it was in the end, Donna, other people in the interviews and in the locker room, that they feel the same way. Should the quarterback not have played?
I know, Tony, they wouldn't talk about that. You could hear a pin drop in there because I think they were in disbelief, Tony. But let's just go to the locker room because it wasn't many people that I got because I didn't even want to ask questions.
At the end of the day, like, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. And, you know, if you're going to be in this situation playing NFL football, you got to be able to pick yourself up and figure it out. That's honestly what it comes down to. We got to figure it out, and whoever's out there is accountable for their production when they're on the field. So it sucks to get, you know, kicked in the gut like this, but like, we don't got time to lay our heads and feel sorry for ourselves. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. I don't feel sorry for us. Nobody in this locker room is going to feel sorry for us. So, you know, you sit with the emotion tonight and you come in and watch the film and be accountable for your piece in it and come back better next week.
It just felt like we didn't really we couldn't get started as an offense. You know, got to dive into the tape and figure out why. You know, it's easy to say whatever you want after the game, but, you know, you got to watch the film and really break down what happened.
It definitely makes it tough for us, you know, whenever we, you know, not getting stops on third down. We're putting ourselves in good positions but not executing to get off the field, and it extends the drive, and I think one of those drives was 20 plays or something along those lines. So we just can't do that, and we have to find a way to get off the field. I mean, it's hard to process right now, but it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate where we're at. You know, we have a lot of good guys in this room, and just hasn't worked out thus far.
Competitor mindset. Everybody wants to win. So it's a lot of frustration, you know, and we're just trying to find a way. You know, in this league, it's hard to win. And a lot of these guys, man, they put in the work in all week, and we're trying to find a way. As you can see, man, everybody's quiet like, you know, this ain't us, you know what I mean? And we know what we're about, and we know what we put in all week. So to come out here and, you know, to put that type of performance, it's frustrating all of us, you know, even myself. And you know, it's just getting back to work, man. Main thing.
Get back to work. Well, we're going to take a break and get back to work, and our job is to talk about you guys. Now, we're not trying to be nasty here, but we're trying to be real. Put the kids to bed. It's getting ugly. We'll be back in a moment. I played 14 years in the NFL, 14 years of defense. And that's the one thing we always know. Defense can dictate the game. And Big Zoe, they dictated it because they never got close to the quarterback. They never penetrated in the backfield of the other team that much. And they did not play well. And you know they cannot. But then you got a young man that everybody thought he too old, Wagner, and Big Zoe, he got 14 or 15 tackles.
Pop, first of all, thank you for talking me into taking this off. But the score 31-0, 31 points got put up on them. At the end of the day, yeah, everything, and that's why I'm saying today, I've been hearing talks about, oh, they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. They should be embarrassed today. Like you shouldn't be going to get your Starbucks Venti without a bag on your head. You shouldn't go defensive line. Where were you guys? That's why that guy has to make all the tackles in the world, because you guys are non-existent. I even think on one of the plays I saw Will Harris and another player basically knock each other off just so the guy could score. So that's why that bag was on my head. If they're not going to be embarrassed about it today, somebody has to, especially the defense. I mean, we know how the offense was, injuries, but the defense just purely laid down. If we didn't have Bobby Wagner out there, it may have been 20 more, it may have been a college score, 51-0.
Donna, you know, and I think he's right on that. And you always want to throw defense under the bus. Well, I'm right there with you trying to hold the bus up because, you know, they didn't get the job done. The pass rush was meager at best. The run was not no big plays in the backfield. I mean, just what's happening with this defense? They're saying new people are coming back in. They're ready and everything, but they just don't seem at the beginning of the game. Look like every team is driving that first drive and scoring. Does this defense need to get it together a little earlier?
Tony, get it together earlier. What week are we in of the season? Week 14? I mean, if you ain't got it together by now, good grief. I mean, they were running over them, that running game, just like water running out of the spigot, Tony, because they could not stop that. And I'm like with Solomon, I've seen players running into each other, tackling each other. You're on the team together. You ain't supposed to be tackling each other. And then I saw so many poor tackling, missed tackles in that game, Tony. And that to me is what disturbing is that the play of this team on defense, 1 week you're stopping people, the next week you're not. I mean, Minnesota came into this game basically saying, look, we need a win too. The way McCartney came into that game threading them on offense, it was sad to see, Tony. And I'm like you, like I don't try to throw them under the bus. I don't try to run over them, but Tony, they allowing the bus to run over them on defense.
Yeah, but you know, and Michael, let me just ask you this, because even as bad as it was on Sunday, they still had an opportunity because everyone in the East lost. They still had an opportunity. I know it was slim and none, but they didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Now you're going to play your number one quarterback, and you got a very narrow opportunity. You don't go out and get blown out, Mike.
Oh, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'll answer that question, but I want to go back to what Solomon said about 51-0 if Bobby Wagner hadn't played. Do you realize he had 16 combined tackles? He had 6 solo hits, solo tackles, 1 quarterback hit, and he had a sack. He played a defensively beautiful game. Nobody else did. But getting back to you, you know, when Jaden went out, it was 14-0. And I think a lot of people thought, you know, the way Jaden normally brings teams back, I agree, Tony. I thought they still had a shot here. And then Mariota came in and kind of stunk it up a little bit. But, I don't know what to say, Tony. I would just say, look at the preseason. Look at how badly they played in the preseason and how every team drubbed them. And then look at, this is the 5th game now where they've gotten drubbed and embarrassed and humiliated, not just lost, but humiliated. It's just like the preseason. It looks very similar to that. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I've lost a lot of confidence in the head coach. That's all I'll say.
Well, Mike, you did say in the beginning they wouldn't win another game. I guess you must have been looking in the crystal
Glad we didn't bet him, Pops, because, man,
I know. That's all right. When we come back, when we come back, we're going to look at the picks and different things like that. We whooping Donna this week. She noticed she hasn't said
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I admit it.
Fans, we're going to keep it exciting. We're going to look at the picks. We're going to look at the restaurant challenge. We're looking at all the new stuff because we don't have a lot of football to talk about. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, welcome home. It's Michelle Van Allen from Van Allen Real Estate. I am over 20 years experienced in this real estate game. We all know that right now this market takes an experienced agent to get you what you need. All of you sellers, if you're considering putting your house on the market, please give me a call. I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to you to find out where you place in this market. Hey, you first-time home buyers, remember, right now is the perfect time. It's a buyer's market to get you into your first dream home. Hey, you investors, this is an amazing time to invest. If you ever thought about it, give me a call. We can talk about it. We can talk about specific properties that are on your radar and mine. Give me a call. I'd be more than happy to welcome you into the Van Allen Real Estate team. I look forward to talking to you soon.
But I'm going to tell you how I am, guys. Just like they changed the name of this team, you're going to mess around and make me change teams. Donna, I don't know if I can hang in this. And Gary, this ain't the kind of football we've watched in the past. What has happened with that team? And you know what? I'm looking for an alternative there, Gary. Talk with me.
I tell you what, Tony, unfortunately, they just didn't play good football this year. The Commanders are off to a good start. And then next thing you know, they started playing like the Commanders of old. Hopefully the players will, I never really blame it a lot on the coaches. I always typically hold the players accountable. Just like everybody says, well, we didn't have Jaden. Well, that's a horrible excuse to have for a reason why you didn't make it to the playoffs and have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. My first Super Bowl, we had 3 quarterbacks that played throughout that season, quite honestly. And I finished up with Doug Williams, and we ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I hate it when they try to blame injuries or anything else, because that's just part of the football game. But I'm excited. What I am excited about, we're going to be a part of another professional football league that's starting hopefully 2026, 2027, called the World American Football League. We have the founder of that league on the show here tonight, and Eitan Muhammad. I'm going to turn it over to Eitan and let him explain to you exactly what the World American Football League is. We also have Chad Morton, who's also going to be heading our TV show inside the WAFL as well. So we got some special guests on the show today. I'm going to let Eitan take it away because he is spectacular in what he's doing for the league and what this league will be playing. It's old school football, like what we play.
We may need some new personnel too. Are they looking for individuals? We may put Donna out the field because she said this team was going to the Super Bowl.
Donna.
Well, Tony, let me just come in with you and Gary, because that's absolutely never going to happen. And Gary points his finger at what was the cause of the Commanders' downfall in that game against the Minnesota Vikings. It was everybody. Injuries, team not playing well, as Coach Quinn said. Excuses, but the thing about it is, it's everybody's fault on that team, from the coaches to the players to everybody, because that was the debacle of a game, the worst game that I've seen. But Gary, as you say, we're moving on to something great that's happening. coming up, you said in 2026, is the World American Football League, WAFL. And this is a global network. As far as what the NFL has done is great. And as you well know, that the NFL has gone over across the pond in various different countries over the years. But now we're talking about global overall, adding even more. So as you say, Gary, let's go right to Aton to tell us a little bit more about this league and how it's going to operate.
Thank you, Donna and Tony. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I'm really excited about the WAFL. And Gary Clark, who will serve as the league's president, joined us in this initiative to be able to bring American football to the world. Let's face it, the NFL has done an amazing job with being able to grow American football into a pastime that's almost like a religion. The Super Bowl is basically a holiday in America. It gets about 127 million viewers around the world. But you know what's even greater? World Cup, which has about 1.2 billion people that watch every year. So we came up with the concept of basically being ambassadors for the sport that we love, football, which ironically enough is also the name of the most popular sport that we call here in America soccer, but it's known all over the world as football. We decided to be able to come up with a strategy about being able to merge the two worlds and to be able to benefit from the popularity of the sport in America by partnering with the most popular sport in the world and allowing international franchises to be done under the names of some of the greatest global sports brands on the planet. And that includes, teams that may be, featured on Premier League, groups like FIFA and so on. And a little bit about how we plan on initiating that is through partnerships with groups like we work with Greenstone currently. That's our investment bank around the world. We're talking about putting together an $8 billion budget so we can be able to do this thing right and be able to begin to start promoting it. This is going to be a spring league, so it'll run from February to August. So that it can be basically an alternative for people who hadn't gotten their fill of football. They can be able to watch it year round. And of course, it'll be culminated by an international global event called the World Bowl, which will be our answer to the Super Bowl, which will be the first truly global international event.
What you're giving us is a little bit of the old with the new and try to give us a new entity out there. And that's very exciting because for years, people never knew that the most watched sport in the world was soccer, and they called it football. This is a great idea, but how did you guys come up with this idea, and how long have you been working on it?
We've been working on it for about a year, and actually it was born from a conversation that Chad, Gary, Daryl Smith, and myself, we were all sitting at the table. He's a colleague of mine with Black Sun. We were all sitting at the table discussing opportunities that Black Sun has put out there. And our specialty is in sports, media, entertainment, and tech. We had participated in the bid for the Boston Celtics. We lost. And we were looking for opportunities in sports that were kind of left abandoned. And one of the biggest that would come up was, of course, American football. It's the biggest brand here in sports in America. Gary brought up the idea of, what about us doing, he played for the USFL. He said, what about us doing a USFL style league with the dollars to be able to really, really put it out in the right way and partner with soccer teams overseas to create a global network, basically giving a major soccer team helmets and shoulder pads, and they bring their fan base to a new league, and we can be able to use that as the base to be able to create an international movement. And the difference that we thought that we would bring to the table, there would be player run, player ran. The NFL, incredible organization, but we believe that there's a better job that could be done with making certain that players get lifetime benefits, guaranteed lifetime income, an opportunity for ownership in the league and the teams, as well as giving the fans a taste to be able to give the fans an opportunity to have ownership. And no longer does ownership have to be gatekept to the halls of billionaires. We're going to open it up to where fans and everyday people and the players themselves get a chance to have a stake in the league that they love and the sport that they helped to be able to make great.
Chad, wanted to bring you in also. As far as the NFL, in order for it to make the networks and all of that, television stations all have to be involved in this process of getting it out there, because we know that success of any league and everything is tied up in how you promote it, how you get your face out there, how people find out about you. And as you look across the NFL, CBS, ABC, NBC used to be the powerhouses, but now you've got Netflix and you've got Amazon Prime and all of those new entities that's playing a part in the broadcast and the owner rights of broadcasting this. You talked about the franchise, 32 franchise, 22, I think, based in the United States, and then 12 international. How do you all plan to get this out there, the promotions, getting it on TV where people can actually watch this? Because that's going to be huge in the success of any league succeeding.
Well, those are great questions, and I'll piggyback off of what Eitan has said. We plan on starting with YouTube, and YouTube is a player right now in major sports. Since we're going to partner with 20 teams domestically, 12 teams internationally, since those teams that we're targeting internationally will also already have soccer teams there, we want to partner with those organizations so we can sort of blend that fan base. So we have soccer fans that are also football fans. So, for example, a Chelsea United soccer team, we could also have a Chelsea football franchise right there, same location, same organization. So we build into their already existing infrastructure. I think another important point that you brought up that we're going to need to cover is we're going to start our show before this league is formalized. We're going to start our show introducing people to the league via YouTube, introducing people to the concept, and introducing people to the teams with our show, which will be on YouTube. And I want to take you back to when Inside the NFL was appointment viewing back in the day. We want to go back to that level of football coverage where we're covering the nuts and bolts, real football coverage about real players and real teams. But the fan ownership aspect that Eitan mentioned is going to be crucial because it's going to give everyday people an opportunity to not just root and be emotionally invested, but financially invested as well. And that's where we believe it's going to really get us over the hump to put our league in the forefront of people's attention.
As great as Bobby Beathard was as a GM, a GM from here that's been in the NFL for a long time, and you guys think about getting those kind of people to bring the solidarity that you need?
Oh, 100%. Like, we already have a list of former players that we are pigeonholing as head coaches and assistant coaches in the league already. So we already have some that the list. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of like, there's going to be a lot of Washington players as head coaches on that team because, I'm a little selfish that way. I'm taking guys that I know. I don't have to guess if they can coach. I don't have to guess if they know about the game. I'm already going to know that they understand the game, how they understand the game, because I see how they did the game when I played with them as well. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're going to have. All of our head coaches, Tony, and most of our assistant coaches will be former NFL legends or so. It's just what it will be.
Hello.
Hey, Tony, we got to wrap it up.
All right, Donnie saying we got to run out. But as we always say, we never say goodbye
Tony.
To this new league and to you guys. We just said hello.
Looking for top-notch sports officials who know the game inside and out? The Greater Potomac Officials Association, GPOA, proudly serves the military community throughout our region, with nearly 90% of our officials being military retirees, active duty service members, or guardsmen. We bring unmatched discipline, professionalism, and integrity to every contest. From youth leads to adult alumni, our officials cover it all. Want to learn more about GPOA or bring our officials to your program? Contact owner and CEO Earl Teller III at 202-498-2032 or email him at gr8rpotomac@comcast.net.
The one-of-a-kind joy of Kellogg's cereal and ice-cold milk.
In Mad Mike's NFL News this week, Sunday might have proven to be the denouement of the Kansas City Chiefs. Their loss to the Texans gives them only a 16% chance of making the playoffs. This would be the first time since 2014 that they won't contend. The Vikings' 19-play, 98-yard drive, which consumed 12-plus minutes of game clock Sunday versus the Commanders, was one of the longest in NFL history. During that drive, nearly everyone caught a pass or ran the ball except the ball girl. Well, not really, but close. In that game, 13-year veteran tight end Zach Ertz, who had just moved into 5th place on the all-time tight ends reception list, suffered an ACL injury and is out for the rest of the year. Tua, Mike McDaniel, and the Dolphins have won 4 in a row and are back in the wild card hunt at 6-7. Count me in as one of the ones who'd given up on the Dolphins. It must have been all those tapas they consumed in Madrid. The Bills are very much alive in the wild card race. They've amassed 7 games with 30 or more points. This is the most in the NFL this season. And while we're on the Bills, Josh Allen's 40-yard touchdown run in the snow Sunday was the longest Buffalo quarterback run in Bills history. Bears head coach Ben Johnson talked smack this past week. He said he looked forward to beating Green Bay twice a year. Howie Long had the greatest comment of the day concerning this on Fox. He said Johnson won the press conference this past week, but Matt LaFleur won the game. And in another surprising revelation on the Fox NFL Sunday show, Terry Bradshaw said he had never met Mike Tomlin. How in the world can this be? I put this on Mike Tomlin and the Steelers organization. As Warner Wolf used to say, that's the boo of the week. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones is believed to have suffered a torn Achilles in Sunday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's to go along with a fractured fibula, and he's definitely out for the rest of the season. Lions safety Brian Branch suffered a torn Achilles in his win over the Cowboys, and he's out for the season. Ex-Steelers cornerback Darius Slay was claimed by the Bills this past week. And in several sports articles regarding who might end up where, Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury has been touted as a possible Giants head coach. With Dart, Scadaboo, and Neighbors, the latter 2 coming off serious injuries, and a stout defensive line, plus a ton of early round draft picks coming their way, this is the best looking job out there. Of course, if the Commanders lose out, that bloom might just be off the roads. More on Dallas next week. That's NFL News.
Well, one thing we know that the Sports Bar Challenge, well, not the Sports Bar Challenge, but the Sports Challenge, because everybody can get in, they're doing a great job. And I want you all to see what that race is looking like, because if you pick wrong at this stage of the game, you might be out of it right now. Well, Tony and crew, if you can see right here, it is heating up because right now, if you look at across the board, the Glory Days is still leading the pack at 17-11. You've got Crystal City Pub right there behind them at 15-13. But Crystal City Restaurant, Billy, I see you right there breathing down the Glory Days next at 16-14.
Come on, Billy, bring it up, Billy, bring it.
And Van Allen Real Estate at 15-13, and GPOA, they were leading the pack, and now they're falling behind. But guess what? You still have time. 4 weeks. You pick wrong, and you might be out. So if you look at this game coming up, the first game, you've got the Texans and the Chiefs. So Solomon, I'm going right to you. How do you see that game playing out? Because the Chiefs seem to me is in a downfall, but they're playing on the road. But the Texans ended up winning that game against the
Turn
Chiefs.
out the lights, the party's over. Okay,
So right there, but right there, the Texans ended up beating the Chiefs. So Solomon, I'm coming back to you. Monday night is the Chargers and the Eagles. Solomon, talk to me about this game, the Chargers and the Eagles. How does that play out?
Well, the Chargers players went out for dinner last night. The Eagles players were fighting. So I got the Chargers just because they have a way better locker room and they care for each other right now. Where the Eagles, they may fight before the game, halftime, and during the commercials. So I got the Chargers going over the Eagles tonight.
And Tony, right quick before we go to our picks.
I like the Chargers as well. I feel like right now they've kind of figured out the Chiefs. They had to depend on one person too much. If you can stop him, he's hurting a little bit right now. Kelsey is in trouble because he ain't getting the ball.
The Chargers pop. She said the Chargers pop.
I thought we were
Chargers and the Eagles. No, the Chargers and the Eagles. The Chiefs already lost.
Oh, that changing the Chargers and the Eagles changed my whole thing because both of them. But I still go with the Chargers. I feel like they would be doing well. As Solomon said, the Eagles got something going on inside, and they could conceivably lose all the rest of the games. That's why it was so important for Washington to do better than they did. I go with the Chargers there.
And Mike, I'm gonna let you finish it off. The Eagles. Do you have any faith in the Eagles right now, or else are you with Tony and Solomon with the Chargers?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I've been pushing the Eagles all season long. Obviously, they're going to win the NFC East. I'm sorry, but watching all these other teams, and even Buffalo might be in trouble. I mean, even after that very, very satisfying win, I mean, a lot of these teams, all the big quarterbacks could be out of it. The Eagles were the one thing that you can count on.
Well, they can't count on each other because they're fighting. But let's go to our picks, because I'm always one to admit I went 1-4. I dogged Tony last week, but I went 1-4. If you can see how the sports challenge is heating up, our picks is heating up because Tony, Mike, and Solomon are tied at 41-24. I'm in second place at 40-25. And then Gary is right behind us. So it's even. And if you notice, the Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, Broncos, and the Rams is who Tony is picking. And then the Chargers, I throw that in there. But the Patriots and the Bills, I think, is going to be a great game. And even the Broncos and the Packers. But Tony, there's our picks right now. But guess what? We've got the Giants coming up, Tony. Talk about that matchup against the Commanders. Will they beat the Giants up in the Meadowlands?
5 weeks ago, I would have put that as a win. Right now, I put the Giants are playing better. They're doing the things that they need to do, and they are a very physical team. They are up and coming. I am afraid of that game. If we go by talent, Washington will win. If we go by heart right now, the Giants going to give them a problem.
Solomon, come on. Is that true?
Look, that's what's been going on with my picks. I've been using my heart instead of my head. So at this point, I'm about to use my head. No, they got to go against Dart this time. This ain't Russell Wilson. This ain't Jameis Winston. So my heart wants us to win, but my head said we may get worked over again. So we will see.
Hey, Mike, everybody is lost confidence in the Commanders. You too?
No, I mean, well, I was the one 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Mike, look us in our eyes when you say that.
I sort of lost confidence in him a long time ago. I'm sorry.
Hey, Tony, you got the last word.
Well, you know what? And one thing about it, we always say the last word, and as you know, we never say goodbye, and we're not saying goodbye now. And please, fans, don't think that we're being mean. We're being real. And when we come back next week, hopefully we can talk about a win. But until that time, we'll be back in the minute.
In the minute. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Speakers Bureau offers you various opportunities to connect with former and current players along with Tony and the crew. For more information, go to redmagplus.com Speakers Bureau.
The one-of-a-kind joy of Kellogg's cereal and ice-cold milk.